Hello, my babies. It is I, your friendly neighborhood rave, saying hello. How you doing? It's that time again, folks. I don't know about you, but when I watch a movie and I see a guitar, I zone everything else out. And you know what takes me out of the movie quicker than anything else is bad guitar playing. And by bad guitar playing, I mean fake guitar playing. Guitar playing where I could look at the guitar player or the actor pretending to be a guitar player and it just don't make any sense. No more. It stops today on this third episode of your boy looking at videos of stuff of people playing guitar and figuring out if they're doing it for real. I need to come up with a better title for this series. If you have any idea what we should name this series, please comment down below. I'd really appreciate the help. I can't do this without you. While you're down there, don't be afraid to give this video a like. Helps out with the algorithm and makes me quite happy. Alrighty, on to the movies. First clip we got is from August Rush. Now, full disclosure, I've never watched this movie, so I don't know what to expect. I do know for a fact, though, that it has fingerstyle percussive guitar playing. I'm fairly confident when I say that I believe it is Cocky King who is playing, or rather it's her hands, doing the guitar performances. But let's give this a shot. August Rush. Okay, so as I mentioned before, I'm pretty sure Cocky King, for those who don't know, is a wonderful virtuoso guitar player. She is incredible, and if I'm not mistaken, again, I'm fairly certain that it's her hands that's on the close-ups, right? We could see the left hand and the right hand working in synchronicity together, and it looked real, and it looked good, and that's because Cocky is the master. Also, side note, how awesome is it to see Robin Williams' smile? That guy, man, that guy. And with the cowboy hat, also, he kind of looks like Bono. Am I not alone in that? He kind of looks like Bono, I think, right? Robin Williams with the hat, Bono with a cowboy hat. Kind of look the same, I think. So what we saw there was a type of guitar playing called fingerstyle playing, where the guitar player uses the guitar like a piano while also like a drum kit. And that would happen by hammering onto the guitar strings with your fingers like so. Now that's where you get the notes. Single notes and precise notes are played that way. But what you saw there was the kid whacking on the guitar neck to make a chord. And that was because the guitar itself was tuned to some open tuning. And when you basically strum any guitar that's tuned to an open tuning, it's already tuned to a chord, so you will get that chord. So all you'd have to do is either hit around to get the harmonics to ring out, which is those kind of bell sounding things, or you just have your hand go up the fret in this open tuning so that you can get different chords. But the way percussion was added was by hitting the actual guitar. Now, a lot of fingerstyle guitar players hit different parts of the guitar to mimic different parts of a drum kit. So sometimes you'll have a guitar player who has a mic'd up guitar or a guitar with a pickup inside of it. So for example, they might hit on this part of the guitar to get a snare sound, or on this side of the guitar to get a snare sound, or on the underside. Or they might even hit this part of the guitar right here to get a kick drum. A little closer to the neck so you could get a little bit more of a tighter sound. Now granted, this is very much a personal stylistic choice, so not every fingerstyle player is going to hit the same part of their guitar to get the sound that they want. Also, because they don't have the same guitar. So a lot of times what you might see is guys doing something like this. And essentially what I'm doing there is I'm just hitting, instead of using any of those parts of the guitar as my drum or percussion, I'm right here on the neck. You see a lot of guys do the same thing when they kind of try to mimic bass playing with the guitar. Kind of like that. What's even more interesting is that in that very scene, you see the kid plug his guitar, his acoustic guitar, into a delay pedal. Funny enough, it's a pretty beat up delay pedal and it has tape over it, so I can relate. I have a lot of pedals that look like that. But what that does is it allows his acoustic guitar signal, when it's being amplified, to be delayed like this. So now whatever you play is going to be delayed and repeated by whatever time setting you have on your delay pedal. Now, obviously, you could get a lot more crazy and in-depth and intricate and wild as you want with it, like most things in the guitar. But that should give you a rough idea of what we just saw there. And I gotta say, A+. Cocky King is no joke. Awesome work.
Oh, come on, that's too fast.
That, of course, was a clip from one of the coolest movies ever, That Thing You Do, featuring the Wonders. Fun fact, I always thought that they were a real band and that was a biopic because there was just so much detail there. Props to Tom Hanks. I want to make it extremely clear right now that what we're doing here is kind of judging if their playing was so bad that it took me out of the movie, right? They don't have to have every chord exactly down. They don't have to have the positions 100% down. And some of them kind of look funky. But again, we have to be a little lenient because you don't know what the editor did. Maybe they did play the right songs at the right part in the right time, but the person or the editing team maybe mixed and matched some scenes out of order or in a way that looked cool but wasn't actually guitar accurate. Overall, I gotta say it was pretty damn good. I've watched that movie a few times and never was I ever taken out of it. The cool thing I gotta say was everything, the detail down to the music. It was so period specific and accurate that I loved it. What you have in that song are chords that are really sort of authentic to the time, and it's the 1-4-5, the classic tried and true pop, blues, rock and roll chord progression, right? But what's cool is, again, they're so period specific that they make the chord changes very kind of British invasion rock 60s kind of vibe, which is really cool. Like, so it goes, "Cut you doing that thing you do, breaking my heart into a million pieces like you always do." Right? That's interesting. And then they have the chorus, which is super cool, super Beatlesy. "Well, I try to forget you, girl, but that's just hard to do." Major to minor. That's cool. "Every time you do that thing you do." Very cool, very period accurate. Love it, love it, love it. Issues I have, though, are Ethan Embry, our boy Ethan Embry. He was, of course, playing the bass player in the band. One of the ways he was holding his bass was like this. Now, I personally have never seen a bass player use these 3 fingers when playing. Usually, a bass player likes to keep things simple. They would usually use index finger, pinky, maybe ring, maybe middle. But what you have there in that scene is him just doing some kind of chord thing. It just looked weird. And I don't remember if it was accurate, but it was just weird. But we love Ethan Embry. But because of that and some of the chord positioning looking a little weird, I gotta give it an A. Not an A+, but still an A. Great movie. You should still check it out.
What next?
So that was, of course, a clip from the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, chronicling the life and times of Queen. Now, for that particular scene, a scene where the guitarist, of course, we're talking about Brian May, but the actor playing Brian May is portraying Brian May, recording the guitar solo, perhaps one of the most iconic guitar solos, to one of the most important, if not the most important song of all time. There, I said it. Let's fight. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree. How accurate was it? Not freaking bad. It was pretty damn good. He was playing the right notes and the right frets. Keep in mind, I'm tuned a half step lower. So what he was playing is going to be a half step higher. So what that means is what I'm going to play is going to be a half step higher than where it is on screen for when he was playing. But ultimately, the sound was correct. He was playing it exactly as it is on the record. But notice, though, the camera only shows his fingers during a particular part. And that part is... Once we get into that part, they move it away because that's when he goes... Something like that. Of course, what we hear in that clip is not the final version of the solo that we hear in the song, so that's why I'm giving myself leeway with not really knowing how that solo goes. But anyway, my point is, when that solo speeds up and gets a little bit more intense, the camera pans out. We see the figure of Brian May through the window of the control room of the recording studio. We see him from a distance, so we can't really zoom in on what he's doing. We just see him playing. Brilliant, brilliant directing move to capture the vibe of being in the studio with Queen in the 70s recording that song, but also to not get us out of the moment. It's all about the moment. Wow, I'm kind of teaching film here. I didn't even think of that. The guitar verisimilitude consultant. Sorry, I was seeing Hollywood signs and had stars in my eyes. Overall, though, I gotta say that was an A+. Solid. Hell yeah. Let's do it.
They have a girl drummer.
The song is called I Am So Sad. I am so very, very sad. Goes a little something like this. Thank you.
Not a race, guys. Kim, are you...
I'll take you for a ride. I'm a garbage truck. Oh no. I take you to the dump. 'Cause you're my queen.
That was, of course, from the epic, cool movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Great movie. I'll get this out of the way right now. A+. Yes, A+. But there were some interesting things happening there, right? So the first band with their song So Sad, yes, that was accurate. Again, I'm tuned down half this episode, so everything I have to play has to be a little higher than on the camera, but so sad. Yeah, that's accurate. Now, the coolest thing though about that scene, or rather the most unique thing I should say, is the guitar player in Sex Bob-omb. And I got my acoustic guitar here again to explain. So right off the bat, acoustic guitars are not meant for distortion. They are meant to be played clean. Part of the reason is because if you have a pickup inside your guitar and you're connecting it to an amp or a PA or speaker system of some sort, it will cause feedback to happen. And the louder you set your guitar's pickup to pick up on the vibrations of the strings, the more feedback you will likely encounter. It's not fun. It's an issue, and it's why we invented solid guitars. Solid body guitars have no sound hole, they don't have any resonance in them, therefore they cannot feed back too much. To give you an example of what I mean, here is my acoustic guitar. Now, granted, you probably won't hear as much feedback as you normally would from an acoustic guitar where I plugged into a speaker system. This is all in my headphones, so I'm actually kind of curious to see if it'll feedback much itself. But usually, no, a lot. If you put even like the smallest amount of distortion, you are gonna blow up the speaker system. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it's not that bad. Granted, I'm not cranking the distortion too much, but you can hear this, right? But if you listen right now, you can hear every single like nuance of what's happening being picked up from the guitar pickup itself. You even hear it pick up a lot of that, and even some static feedback. That's why it's not the most ideal guitar to play with any kind of distortion. But what I like about the fact that this is happening in the movie is because it adds to that sort of like indie rock aesthetic that they're going for, at least in Sex Bob-omb. And what's even more sort of like indie rock cool is that the guitar player is basically playing everything, just moving up the same strings. He's not really switching up positions to different strings, at least not from what I saw, which again adds to that sort of indie rock cred. That is important. That is important, right? So what he's doing there is he's playing his F power chord and moving it literally up and down the neck. So if he has a chord right here, let's say, which is this D sharp, instead of playing a D sharp over here, which might be easier, he goes, and that sounds like this. Instead of now notice I even changed the last chord too. I made it on the A string instead of it being on the same string right here. Right? I made it simpler. Now, it's kind of like a cardinal rule that guitar players want to make their parts as simple as possible. So what he's doing there is fairly hard to do, believe it or not, because he's not only playing it all on one string and making these huge movements where he could have so much room for error, but he's singing on top of it. So again, indie cred, yeah. Gear cred, yeah. Beat up acoustic guitar with fuzz, yeah. Also extra points for showing the awkwardness of being the band backstage watching another band kill it.
Soy un hombre muy honrado que me gusta lo mejor. A mujeres no me falta ni el dinero ni el amor. Jineteando en mi caballo por la sierra yo me voy. Las estrellas y la luna ellas me dicen dónde voy. Ay, 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 mi amor. Ay, mi morena de mi corazón. Me gusta tocar guitarra, me gusta cantar el son. Mariachi me acompaña cuando canto mi canción. Me gusta tomar mis copas, aguardiente es lo mejor. También el tequila blanco con su sal le da sabor. Ay, 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 mi amor. Ay, mi morena de mi mi corazón. Me gusta tocar guitarra, me gusta cantar el son. El mariachi me acompaña cuando canto mi canción. Me gusta tomar mis copas, aguardiente es lo mejor. También el tequila blanco con su sal le da sabor. Ay, 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 mi amor. Ay, mi morena de mi corazón. Ay, 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 mi amor. Ay, mi morena de mi corazón.
Desperado. Classic, iconic, you name it, it is. I remember watching that movie as a kid and loving it. I gotta say, I'm a pretty good audience member because I was never taken out of the movie when I watched it, then and now. But I will say, watching it with the current lens showed some interesting holes. For starters, in the beginning, the fingering looked on and off at certain points. That first chord that he attempted to play. Correct. Fingering and everything. It's kind of when he was doing the single note stuff. It was kind of interesting, to say the least, but didn't look completely off, I should say. The thing that took me for a loop was in that scene, Antonio Banderas uses his guitar as a weapon. Now, you shouldn't hit anybody if you really don't have to. If your life's not in danger, don't use your fists. Don't fight. Don't throw things. Just be nice or leave. Run. That being said, if you want to hurt somebody, don't hit him with your guitar, and especially not with the headstock of the guitar. This is the most fragile part of the guitar. If you were to ship this guitar out, usually any guitar, especially electric guitars with a tilt back headstock. Now, if you look over here, see how this headstock where the tuners are, it kind of tilts back, right? If you imagine this in a box, this is in an unnatural kind of position. Any kind of pressure this way or that way, crack. It's going to snap. The more tilt back the neck is, the more in danger it is of snapping. If I were to drop this guitar right now, this would be a very, very dangerous place for it to land. That being said, I imagine if you were to, again, this is Desperado, Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino. We have to give him some artistic leeway, right? It's a great movie. If you were to hit anybody across the face with the headstock of your guitar, especially classical flamenco guitars that are nylon string, I'd imagine your nylon string guitar would break. No problem. I'd also assume that steel string guitars, like this right here, as you can see, the strings are made of steel, would probably be a little bit more sturdier. Granted, they could inflict a little bit more damage. They'd probably have a little bit more resistance to breaking off, but they'd break off just the same. Nylon string guitars with, again, strings made of nylon, they're gentle. They're pristine instruments and should be cared for. So the only person that will be hurt at the end of the day will be you and your bank account because you're going to have to get a new guitar. So don't use the guitar as a weapon, certainly not the headstock. Do what Kurt Cobain did and throw the bottom part of it on somebody. But overall, when the mariachi started playing behind him, they were moving in tempo, strumming in tempo. Everything looked on point. Even did the whole, guitar percussion. I gotta say, I would give that an A, but I'm not gonna lie, I have half a mind to give it a B- because if you're gonna promote violence, do it in a way that's at least somewhat realistic. But then again, I can't because it's an artistic movie and the gore and the violence is supposed to be sort of hammed up. So let's give it an A. We'll stick with an A. I don't know, guys. You tell me. What do you think? Should this get an A or A-? Let me know down in the comments below.
It's not an iron weasel, kid. Oh, is it my turn? Because I thought you were just tuning up. Okay, not bad for a toddler. So you can crawl. Let's see if you can run. Yeah, I can run, but I prefer to fly. I'm done talking. I got a better use for my mouth.
Oh,
Yeah? I have an even better use for your mouth. To beg for mercy.
wow. Okay. So I don't know what the show is that is from. Full disclosure. I just came across it on YouTube and figured, let's throw that in. And I did not watch it. I was like, oh, there's guitars in here. Let's watch it for this. But wow. So what you saw there was a guitar duel, a guitar battle. Usually when they happen, they either can go down one of two ways. Really friendly or really fun. I've never seen a guitar battle in my life, and I've never been involved in a guitar battle where there were two guitar players who were just like at each other's throats. Unless it's a contest or something like that. Like if some guitar store holds a contest for, you know, best shredder, whatever, then that's like a contest. That makes sense. But just in like life, I've never seen it happen. You're more likely to find two guitar players exchanging ideas and having fun, talking back and forth through their instruments. That being said, always hilarious when things like this happen in real life. The playing, I gotta say, was kind of what I expected. I saw that it had the Disney Channel logo thing, so it was kind of what I was expected, and it was entertaining. If I was a kid, I'd probably watch that, go like, yeah, that was pretty awesome. Was it accurate? No. So the older gentleman, I gotta say, he moved and performed in a way that he looked like somebody who was really feeling it. Not somebody who could play, but, you know, again, I can't even do it. You know, the overacting. That's always interesting to see. He could do that. He did that really well. But his left hand was way off. For what he was doing there, he was just kind of doing one of these things, and if you just do that, that's what it looks like. That's what it sounds like. I can't even do a bad job with that. It's a kid's show, I guess. So, I mean, like, yeah, great. But I will say I was impressed with his right hand because his right hand was going with the beat and the solo, at least in the first couple of tries. For the younger kid, though, what really kind of made his solo stand out as being kind of fake is the fact that his last note was a dive bomb. For those who aren't aware, a dive bomb is when you take your whammy bar right here and you press it down while you're playing a note like this. Now that exact note and that exact dive bomb is what you hear at the end of his solo in the first round. Right? But he's going... Sorry, it's all the way up here. You gotta look like a rock star. Right? To do that, I need to have my hand pressing down on the whammy bar. There's no way I could do... The moment I let go, the note goes back to where it's supposed to be. Another thing I was impressed with was when the older gentleman was doing these sort of slide runs, which was like... Right? The actor was actually sliding his finger. Yeah, he got it down. But then when it came down to actually soloing, it was kind of weird. It just looked weird. The younger kid obviously did his thing again where he's just moving his hands and whatever, but the real issue came when it was time to play with the mouth. No, I will not attempt this. I like my teeth as they are. Steel on teeth just doesn't mix, in my opinion, and I don't care to find out how that works, but I can tell you for a fact that a tooth... Should we try it? Let's try it. Let's try a little bit. When you pluck a string with a tooth, you're gonna get one note. Anybody who is showing you more notes, what they're doing, watch. This is me playing with my teeth. How did I do that? I'm not plucking it at all. Hammering on and pulling off. No teeth required to pick the string. If I were to actually pick the string... Wish me luck. See what I do for you guys? You guys better hit the like button, all right? I'm putting my teeth in jeopardy for you guys. Maybe that's a sign to go harder. Puh! Damn it, I'm getting the B string, not the E string. Okay, you know what? I'm okay with saying I'm not a good teeth picker. Not my wheelhouse. That being said, in his solo, when he was picking apparently with his teeth, Again, we're getting nonsense on the left hand, and it was just not making any sense. However, the young kid's solo after the teeth picking incident wasn't bad because he was actually doing some tapping motions. Granted, it does sound a little Eddie Van Halen, which is never a bad thing. The kid was mimicking hard. And in the beginning of that solo, he started off with a dive. And to go from a dive into a straight up tap, it takes skill. Granted, there's a little bit of space between the dive and the tapping, but still, that was cool. And he was mimicking fairly well. But when I say fairly well, I mean fairly well for a Disney show. In the real world, that just ain't gonna cut it. If we're gonna teach our kids how to mimic guitar, we gotta teach them how to do it the right way. That being said, I give that clip a D for Disney. I'm clever, I know. But there you have it, folks. Those are the clips we're going to be looking at today. Let me know down below in the comments if there are any other clips that I should look at from movies, maybe TV shows. If you could find me concert footage of a band playing guitar where the guitar is just wrong and being like lip synced or something, guitar synced, send that just for my own personal enjoyment. I just want to see if that's even a thing, if that's ever happened. As always, I'd like to ask you to like and subscribe if you have not already. Comment down below. Had a lot of questions for you, so pick one and comment. If I recall correctly, they had to do with helping me out with stuff, so if you feel like helping me out, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. As always, take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.